Okay, Tom Jelke here. This is going to be a great... Tom, why don't you just start off by telling us why you joined SigEp in the first place back in the day?
Well, I joined SigEp because I wanted to be a part of something bigger than me. I went to a all-boys Jesuit school, so I kind of had a bond with those guys, and I was looking to continue that in college. And where I went to school, really there weren't a whole lot of fraternities, but I did find a bunch of guys that wanted to start one, and so we created SigEp out on that campus.
So you're the second person in a row here that's mentioned this being a part of something bigger than you. Why does that matter?
I think it matters. I think being a part of something bigger than you matters because it helps you evolve as a person. Like, you learn a lot from the people around you, and at the same time you get a sense of fulfillment by giving back to that organization and helping it be better.
You have never not been involved with SigEp, yet you're a businessman, got a family. What keeps you engaged?
I believe in what SigEp has to offer. I think it's changed my life for the better. It's made me who I am, and because of all those things, it's important to give back to it.
What would be one of those moments where you think that the fraternity actually changed your life? I mean, if you had to comb through the memory files of Tom Jelke, are there one or two things where you're like, wow, this really took me down a different path?
Sure. I think a couple of specific things. There was a time where I had to expel a brother who was actually my big brother in the fraternity, and I don't think I could have done that had I not learned about the fraternity and learned the values of the organization, and do it in a way where he and I are still friends. But it taught me that you have to live up to your values and uphold certain standards regardless of who that person is. So it taught me consistency, and I still, hold that in the way I act today. Probably a better concept is, at my wedding, I looked around and, counted 45 of the 70 men that were there were in my fraternity, either in my chapter or from around the country. So it proved to me that this is a lasting bond. This is something that lasts forever, and that's something I wanted to be a part of. And I made the right choice.
I joke with you about the fantasy football commissioner thing, but there's something special about that. You can be in a fantasy football league with 20 people. Some of them could be SigEps. Most of them could be SigEps. You do this every year with exclusively SigEp brothers. What is there about that why? There's something cosmic going on there that makes you guys keep coming back to the table through sickness and in health. It's almost like some kind of a brotherhood marriage. What's the deal with that?
I think the fraternity experience, especially for SigEp, gives you a bond with people that are all over the country, and your ability to share that experience, whether it's a year later or 10 years later or through a fantasy football league or online, I think that speaks volumes as to how strong the connection to the organization is. If you can connect with people because of that experience, and they're all over the country, but just the fact that you shared a similar experience like that, I think it just tells you how important that connection is.
With that similar experience thing that you shared when you were an undergrad and that our undergraduate brothers are going through today, if you had to have just one or two nuggets of wisdom for the undergraduate SigEp brothers, life lessons that you think SigEp maybe gives them an environment to more deeply embrace, what would be the one or two SigEp-ish life lessons that you would have for an undergraduate brother?
I would say understand the ritual and the values of the organization, and realize that it's more than just a ceremony. It's a guide for how you should be living your life. And if I were to summarize how that has changed me, I learned that, I think every good SigEp does four things when it comes to the ritual and the values of the organization. They learn it, they understand it, right? So learn, they live it, they enact what it says, they teach it to the other people that are in the organization, and they expect others to follow it too. So if you can do those 4 things with the values and ritual of the organization, you're an incredible brother, and probably your chapter is an incredible chapter.